and we're scheduled to be across the street at Foothill, and then after Foothill we're coming back here to do a tour. And then we will do additional introductions of all the dignitaries before the panel. So if all of you could just take a seat. Thank you all for coming out. If you haven't done so already, this would probably be the time to silence the cell phones. And as I say that, I have no idea if I've done my own, so let me apologize in advance. I don't anticipate a phone call. But welcome to Ventura College, Ventura County Community College District. I'm Dr. Jamila Moore, the Chancellor of the district. I just wanted to take a moment to welcome you on behalf of the Board of Trustees. We're very excited to have Superintendent Torlakson here, members of the California Legislature, and others in the K-12 community to kind of bring forward what we do on a daily basis, and that's serve students. Ventura County is extremely excited to be awarded the Career Pathways Grant. We have 62 pathways. Please don't ask me to tell you all 62. We're on a short timeline. But we're very excited to work in partnership with Ventura County Office of Education, and want to say a personal thank you to Superintendent Mantooth and the Board of Trustees for VCOE for acknowledging and coming together a year ago before the introduction of the Pathways Grant about how we can streamline and better serve students in high school to college into careers. So having said that, I'd like to take this opportunity to turn it over to our Vice Chair, Trustee Diane McKay.
Thank you for joining us today. What an awesome crowd. It's my pleasure to introduce Superintendent Torlakson. I think one of the things that impresses me most, I know he did some great things in the Assembly and the Senate, but that he was a science teacher, and he had his boots on the ground first in education, and then came to bring some real change from a thoughtful place and from a place of knowledge to Sacramento. His strength there has helped bolster education. Personally, I know about Proposition 1A. When he got behind that, our school district got about $60 million in matching funds for facilities in the 90s or 2000s from that, and we certainly appreciated it. Appreciate all the work that he does daily to bolster education in Sacramento and around the state. We're thrilled at the community colleges with what we're doing with K-12, with Career Tech Ed, and we're especially happy to have him here today. So thank you.
Thank you to all of you for being here. Is it a great morning, great day? Yeah. Glad to be in Ventura County and glad to be here with Ventura County INNOVATES. So thank you for that kind introduction, Diane, and your president, Art Hernandez. Appreciate the board's role, and President Gillespie, where are you? Thank you for your leadership. It's a true partnership, a true team effort that's happening here. It's precedent setting for all of California. We're just excited to be here to take a tour to see firsthand the partnership, the team you've built here. I'm a coach, high school teacher, as well as an administrator, but I used to go with the team theme, TEAM, together, everyone accomplishes more, and I believe that's what we're doing here, and I'm excited to get out here and see firsthand. You know, the idea behind this came from good work that went before it in terms of linked learning, in terms of partnership academies. We saw that students who had a career in their mind, a place they were headed, learning became learning with a purpose. It became relevant to the world, to their own future. And so that hands-on real-world experience that we had in other areas became the foundation for this Career Pathways Trust Grant program. And it was so popular, out of $250 million that we did in the first round, we had $1 billion of requests of interest around the state. And so it's a real credit to Ventura County, the team you have here, my good friend Stan Mantooth, our leader of superintendents statewide for the county superintendents, but here in this county, forging a partnership with the community college to make this happen and to make it a reality. And because of the round one successes, and there's also Gabe Samaki, I think, is here. Oxnard is also working on linked learning and some good work there. We see $20 million invested here well in Ventura County and communities, and we see it as a way for the future that's so strong that the legislature saw fit to give another $250 million to create round two. And so I will go into more details of how important this is, but it's important for our young people to get excited. They're, again, seeing the real world opportunities. Thank you for the businesses that are partners here, the 62 pathways. will come as our students get exposed to what's happening in the work world. And they're excited, and it's fun, and we know that they don't drop out. They stay in school, they study, they have a purpose, they do their homework, and they're not part of the drugs gang statistics, they're part of the success statistics. I would like at this time just to share the floor with two wonderful legislative leaders and have them just say a good morning and welcome. So I'm not sure if they're able to stay for the whole tour. But Doss Williams and Hannah Beth Jackson are champions in the legislature. They fought for these dollars, they fought for the budget allocation and helped set up the guidelines in the legislation. So if it were not for the state legislature and your two wonderful champion leaders here, we would not have this opportunity. And so with that, I'd like to ask Doss and Hannah Beth Jackson to come up and just say welcome. Thank you.
You have no idea, after being trapped in the legislature till 3 a.m. Saturday morning, how wonderful it is to be with all of you this week. And how wonderful it is to serve at a time with leaders like the superintendent and with my partner here, Senator Jackson, at a time in the legislature where we can prioritize things like this program. As Tom said, the round 2 funding of $250 million was approved. I mean, in totality, in terms of ongoing increase to community college funding, was $300 million this year and $300 million last year. We're starting to rebuild the retrenchment and cutbacks that hurt these institutions so heavily in the last few years. And for K through 12 schools, a $10 billion addition of funding. Not all of that is ongoing, but the majority of that is ongoing to help us rebuild at our K through 12 schools. But I did want to take the opportunity, Tom, because I've heard from all of these folks over the last year, one of our big priorities for us to all take back to Sacramento is something that they've said, which is we need a facilities bond. We badly need a facilities bond. And unfortunately, we played second fiddle this year to the water bond, which is very important. But we need to work together to prioritize that in the coming years, because there hasn't been one since 2006, as you just remarked to me, and there's not a lot of money left on. So we have wonderful things to celebrate, but also a lot of work left to do. And it's great to see you all today. Welcome. Thank you.
3 o'clock in the morning, this is true. And I discovered after I bumped my head on the closet door, I'd forgotten that I had left open at 4 o'clock when I got to bed, that all-nighters are for younger people. But I want to thank you all for being here as well. This is so exciting to me because we took this trip down to Long Beach a couple of years ago, the State Senate did, and you know, one of the challenges we've had is how do we make education relevant to kids today? And you know, they have all fancy things, computers and iPads, and they know so much more about what's going on in the world, some of which is scary because they know how to access things on the internet that some of us don't even know exist. How do we turn that into something where they wake up in the morning and are excited about going to school? And a program like this is exactly what we need to really move young people into a position where they love going to school during the day, that we look and we are able to teach to the genius in each child, that we expose them to things that really grab them, that we might not necessarily know about from the more traditional notions about education. So this is such a wonderful opportunity to really bring the real world with the academic world, with the intellectual world. You know, I keep reminding people that part of the goal of education not only is to teach children how to really love learning and get to a job, but it's also to think critically. because in a democracy we need people to understand what their goals are and how to best get there. So we bring the whole community together in this collaborative effort. I envision, I've had a dream about this area, creating a Central Coast or an 805 corridor that begins in Thousand Oaks and goes all the way up to San Luis Obispo, because we have these wonderful educational institutions, our schools, our community colleges, our CSU, our University of California. We've got such opportunity here to bring the business world and the educational world into sync so that we create the 21st century jobs for the young people of our community. And for me, it's very selfish, because I have a daughter that I want to come back, because I want to be able to grandparent. The best job in the world, right? You get to love them and then send them home when you get tired. And I happen to have a little 18-month-old granddaughter who lives in Chicago. That is a long way to go, and in the winter you don't want to go there. Trust me, especially after last winter. So let's try to find a way to give our young people the job opportunities, the well-paying jobs in communities where there is a need for these type of 21st century jobs that pay well, that give our kids a great future. You're here today to make that happen, and I'm delighted to stand here with our superintendent and my colleague, Doss Williams, as part of what's helped put that together, and you're going to finish it off, and we're going to see this community develop a robust, strong 21st century economy filled with young people who are well-educated and motivated and have all the hope and aspiration that continues to make this country great. So thank you so much for being here.
I think we're ready for a tour. We're ready to see the dynamic